Have you ever looked at Doom Guy's muscles and be like, damn, this dude must be strong? And the game kind of imputes that. I mean, you can kill strong demons like Pinky by merely punching it in the face a couple of times. So there's probably no question that Doom Guy is strong, but how strong exactly? Well, guess what? It turns out we can answer this question by using, that's right, science. And a little bit of speculation. But mostly science, I promise. Just so you know, I'm not delusional. I understand that Doom Guy is totally fictional, even though we have footage of him walking in the streets of Amsterdam, which is, I don't know, looks legit to me. Anyway, let's do the math, shall we? First of all, according to the Doom original source code, damage done by punching is calculated as follows. You pick a random number, take a remainder after dividing it by 10, add 1, and double the result by making a simple bit shift, which is just a program in flex version of multiplying by 2. I'll give you an example. Let's take random number 19. The remainder after dividing it by 10 will give us 9, adding 1 will give us 10, and multiplying it by 2 will give us 20. Which, by the way, is the maximum damage Doom Guy can deal with one punch, because the remainder after dividing any number by 10 cannot be greater than 9, trust me. If we took, for example, 100 as a random number, remainder after dividing it by 10 would be 0, which would give us 2 as a resulting damage. So the range of Doom Guy's single punch damage lies between 2 and 20. Which in case of uniform distribution will give us 11 damage units on average. Which by itself gives us absolutely nothing. To give us something, we need to find a way to convert these damage points to energy and calculate how much work can be done having that much energy. So we need some point of reference, which strictly speaking doesn't exist in the game. I mean, there's no mention that rocket launcher blast equals to 200 joules or something. I checked the manual. But it seems to me that plasma rifle might be the best candidate, because regardless of how fictional the gun itself is, plasma is a very real thing, and while it's not quite pure energy, it is as close to it as a matter can get. An ultra-hot soup of charged particles carrying enormous energy. Also, if we compare plasma projectile, whatever that is, to, let's say, a bullet, it's intuitively clear that conversion efficiency of the former is much higher, because while kinetic energy of the bullet is essentially needed only to make tiny little holes in the body of your target and ultimately make it bleed to death, plasma energy is used to literally melt and vaporize matter itself. What it means is that conversion of energy that plasma projectile holds to the actual damage it deals is much more efficient than it is for the bullet. Damage calculation for plasma rifle was a little bit harder to find, as it's located in a generic function PIT_check thing, which handles collisions between things, in this case projectiles, and is quite similar to one for the punch. Taking random number, getting a remainder after dividing it by 8, adding 1 and multiplying the result by the amount of damage for the specific particle. In our case it equals to 5, which means that plasma rifle does 40 damage max or 22.5 on average. Now, according to the code, plasma projectile is 13 units in radius. And as there is no reliable way to translate game units into real-world units like meter, I'll use DoomWiki as a reference, which will give us roughly 30 centimeters, which means if we consider plasma projectile as a 3-dimensional sphere, it would have volume of 1.13 times 10 to the 5th cubic centimeters. You don't encounter plasma often in real life because it's really hot and weird, but we still can think about it as a bunch of particles and ions, which are just atoms with a net electrical charge. Anyway, things like lightning produce plasma all the time, and temperature there can reach almost 30,000 Kelvin, within an electron density of 10 to the 17th per cubic centimeter, which is, you know, a lot. According to equipartition of energy, each particle holds that much energy, where K is a Boltzmann constant and T is the temperature in Kelvin. So all we need to do is to calculate thermal energy for one particle, and multiply it by number of particles to get how much thermal energy one plasma projectile possesses. So the final formula looks like this. I'll spare you the details this time, and you'll just have to believe me when I say that it equals to roughly 7 kilojoules of thermal energy per plasma projectile, which finally enables us to establish a relationship between damage and energy, and as plasma rifle does 22.5 damage units on average, it means that one energy unit equals to around 311 joules. And given that single punch deals 11 damage units on average, we have roughly 3.5 kilojoules amount of energy produced per punch. Obviously, there are different ways you can punch, and conversion efficiency depends drastically on whether you use a proper technique or simply throw your fist in the air, which, according to the animation, is actually more close to what Doom Guy is doing. But according to laws of thermodynamics, we don't really care, because we already know that one way or another, punching produces 3.5 kilojoules of energy. meaning muscles of the rest of Doom Guy's arm produce at least that much energy or even more, given that energy conversion is never 100% efficient. But so far, these 3.5 kilojoules is just a number. What does it mean in practice? Well, let's say you want to lift some weight and you need to know how much energy does it take. When you lift something, in this case a cat, against Earth's gravity, you basically shift the object from one potential energy level to another. Amount of the energy needed to this depends on weight of the object and delta height, or distance on which you lifted the object in the air. According to the code, Doom Guy is 56 unit tall, which translates to 1.3 of real-life meters, so our hero is quite short actually. But we all know that size is not that important, right? Anyway, it means that the length of his arm is roughly half that, so 65 centimeters, meaning Doom Guy can lift astonishing 548 kilograms of weight above his head with one arm. For comparison, current world record seems to be 143 kilograms. So, it seems that Doom Guy is indeed really strong. Therefore, it's no wonder demons are so scared of him. And if you didn't get scared by all the calculations in this video, please leave it a like, smash that subscribe button, or even support this channel for just €1 per month. It will really help me stay motivated and produce quality content for you. On that note, I want to thank you for your time and wish you a strength that only Doom Guy can get. Thank you.